Will awakening end suffering? That is a question that comes up a lot. Will awakening end suffering? This ties into the question of, why are you on the spiritual path? What caused you to initiate all of the seeking and the feeling of momentum and doership? And it comes down to, will awakening end suffering? It's a very good question. As we investigate our true nature, that question seems to change a little bit. On the surface, it seems like the promise, the reward at the end of the spiritual seeking is end of suffering. That's what it appears to be. And what is the illusion? That everything will be happy, we'll be living in happiness and bliss, and we will no longer suffer. Yes, suffering will end, but not in the way that the mind thinks it will. Because what essentially is suffering? So suffering is something is happening or something is not happening, and there is resistance to what is. So in the awakening process, there's a difference between pain and suffering. So actual pain, physical pain, or emotional pain. So pain, that is going to happen. But suffering is completely optional. Suffering is the resistance to what is. So spiritual endeavors do not create eternal happiness in the traditional way. It doesn't guarantee good health and lack of what we consider negative outcomes in life. But our relationship to suffering changes because we see that the suffering the entire time was all self-induced. It was the resistance to what is, not necessarily the event itself or what is or isn't happening. It's our thoughts and the relationship to that. When there is a flow state, an acceptance of what is, we no longer are suffering in the traditional sense because there is an understanding, experiential understanding, that not only what is, but also being in a flow state where whatever is okay. And everything that comes is not permanent, and therefore it goes. The moment exists and dies. The now moment is and isn't, and is recreated over and over and over again. In the now. Therefore, there's nothing to cling to. There's nothing to hold on to. Nothing is permanent. And suffering occurs when there's a thought in the now about whatever is. And there was a moment for me doing this that really stood out, because in the grand scheme of the universe, creation, whatever you whatever is meaningful to you to call everything that is. Whatever it is that is holding up the planets and is managing the entire universe and the existence of all. Whatever that is, that flow is, that beingness is. Who am I to tell this how things should be? Who am I to have an opinion about how things should be? That became absurd to me, because I had the image of this being this enormous chess game, but with infinite pieces, where something that happens moves another piece here, moves another piece here, and it's so intricately woven. There is no way that a thought could conceive of the enormity and the ripple effect of that. Everything is so beautifully in the flow. Everything that happens or doesn't happen is exactly as it should be. There is no other option. There is no other way that it could be or could have been. Really, really, this is all there is. This moment right now. And living in that state of being. There is no suffering. There is no resistance to what is. It's not even an acceptance, because an acceptance implies being outside of yourself, of the experience, and it implies that there is another option. Because if you accept something, then you're not rejecting it. It's deeper than this. It's deeper than acceptance of what is. It's experiencing what is without a separation of whatever is happening to someone. Life isn't personal anymore. Things aren't happening to somebody. There's no suffering because there's no one to suffer. There's no one who is suffering. That is one thought that was created in this moment right now. And once that thought ends, there is still awareness, experiencing, being. There is always that still awareness, being.